Hello and welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. So, of course, the biggest thing we're going to be talking about in this video is, of course, the 2018 midterms, because they just wrapped up. And, of course, I'm rather late to the game, but again, so are many of the results. But first, we're going to do what we usually do, and get right into the news, and then talk about the political party of the day. But I didn't get that many stories, I guess, so I could go over the results of the midterm a bit more thoroughly. So here were the only news stories that seemed to hit my, just clicked into my cognitive senses. Attorney General Jeff Sessions pulled out of the Trump White House. President taps critic of special counsel's Russia probe to oversee it, drawing Democrats' disapproval. Attorney General Jeff Sessions resigned at the request of President Trump on Wednesday, immediately placing oversight on the special counsel's Russia probe in the hands of an official who has been critical of the inquiry and suggests limiting it. The move, one day after elections, which Republicans lost control of the House of Representatives, but made gains in the Senate, followed months in which Mr. Trump regularly expressed displeasure with Mr. Sessions for recusing himself from the inquiry into alleged Russian interference. Now, you know me, I think that the Russia probe, if they're looking for Trump is Putin's puppet, they're not going to find anything. But if they're just going to be looking into everything that could potentially take down Trump, like money laundering from other countries or stuff like that, illegally using campaign funds to do things, I'm all for that. I'm all for an investigation for the president. Why not? There should have been investigations on Bush, Obama. There should have been investigations on literally every president. If you're a president and you're not getting investigated on, it means you're either doing a really good job or nobody really, or you're just squishing opposition, which I'm pretty sure Donald Trump would probably like to do. And of course, this is another episode of Donald Trump firing his cabinet members because he still thinks he's on The Apprentice. All that's left are Mnuchin or Ben Carson. I'm surprised Ben Carson has yet to be fired. That reminds me of back when Ben Carson was floated as one of his cabinet heads, and he's like, oh, I don't think I'd be good running a cabinet position. And it's like, wait, but weren't you running to run all of the cabinet positions? But regardless, this isn't the Ben Carson episode. Ben Carson's not president of the United States. I know, shocker. But anyways, the next story is a story that's near and dear to my heart. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, 85, breaks rib and fall. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, 85, fell in her office at the court and fractured 3 ribs, the court says. Tests showed that she fractured 3 ribs on her left side, and she was admitted for observation and treatment. The statement from the court said, Ginsburg's health has been a matter of intense speculation in recent years. Ginsburg, the court's oldest member, is one of the court's 4 liberal justices. Now, again, the whole liberal versus progressive thing is a bit of a, iffy thing for me. I'm a bit of a stickler for political terms and the correct assumption, because, example, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez saying, I'm a democratic socialist. I'm like, no, you're a social democrat. You fool. And when I say you fool, I mean you brilliant person. But, well, people are going to use whatever terms they want. It's just how America works. As Donald Glover once said, this is America. Don't catch you slipping up. Don't catch you slipping up. Now, this one I don't have a particular news story attached to it, but it's about the Thousand Oaks shooting that just happened. And it was a story about how apparently one of the guys who was there also happened to be a survivor of the Las Vegas shooting that happened a while ago. It kind of shows, like, this is so common and just happens so many times, i.e. common, that people can literally go through two separate incidents and be shot at. This is, like, and people say, nah, no gun control, this is a stupid idea. It's like, what do you mean? Why do people, like, just insinuate, like, no, gun control isn't a good idea? And then we're gonna get into the same dance and be like, Democrats are gonna say, hey, maybe we should institute common sense gun control. You know, the smart thing people do. Republicans are gonna say, oh, here you go. You're gonna use this tactic. You're gonna use this, like, mass death as a time to promote your political agenda. Because here's the thing. If I was in Congress, I wouldn't pull any BS. I'd be literally, like, if a Republican said, like, you know, Congressman Mercado, you need to stop wasting people's time. People are mourning. People are crying. I'd look at him dead in the eyes and be like, okay, fine. Tell me, when are we going to have the conversation about gun control? Because I'll wait. I'll wait right now. You set a date, and I'll discuss it then. Are we going to discuss it now? Are we going to discuss it tomorrow? Are we going to discuss it when the next shooting happens? I mean, when's the time? Come on. You're the one who clearly wants a specific time. Why don't you give me a time? You see, I catch them in their own bluff. They're going to look at me and be like, I expect when I get in Congress to be what Alan Grayson used to be. Alan Grayson. Well, I mean, he's not dead, but, you know. Now, to get into a more happy story. Lewd wave, some Cadman County voters went for sexy, whiskey, and sin. Sometimes when the people speak, it's best not to listen. This is basically just a fluff piece about some write-in votes that were in a specific county. Here were some of the write-in votes that people did in a specific county, and it's kind of funny. Here are some of the votes. Bill Cosby, Voldemort, Sin, Communist, Whiskey, Sexy. There's Not These Guys, and Gritty, the Flyers mascot, Harambe, who got 3 votes, Vermin Supreme, who got 3 votes, My Hamster, Water Heat Roof, Chicken Foot for Sheriff, Bob Barker's Butt for Bellamar Council, Alice Chang, Sadie, Amanda Porter, Cardi B, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ivy Queen, anyone but Candidate X. And there's apparently some guy who wrote a literal story about how Santa Claus abused his sister, and then something the same about 2 elected officials for his write-in campaign. Well, not a write-in campaign, but like a write-in thing. Yeah. These when you give people write-in options, it gets really creative. But anyways, now on to the political party of the day. It and another one have noteworthiness. It is the Grassroots Legalized Cannabis Party, a third party in the United States that is mostly in Minnesota. It shares many progressive values with the Farmer Labor Party of yesteryear, but has an emphasis on weed issues. Now, the ideology is, of course, marijuana legalization, and politically it has kind of a democratic socialist philosophy otherwise. It also had state parties in Vermont and Iowa. Its platform is very simple. The Bill of Rights. I went to their campaign website and they literally just had the Bill of Rights as their campaign platform. All grassroots candidates want to end marijuana legalization, obviously, and just pretty much want weed to be legal everywhere. And it is well known for running the candidate Chris Wright, who recently ran for governor of Minnesota, which I endorsed. In fact, the legal marijuana now party and the grassroots cannabis party, first they nominated their candidate by petition, and then ran for governor of Minnesota and Minnesota Attorney General. Chris Wright, of course, ran for governor of Minnesota, and Noah Johnson ran for the Attorney General. But here's the thing: they got enough votes to actually allow the grassroots legalized cannabis party and the legal marijuana now party, who pretty much just endorsed, they both endorsed any of the candidates. They got enough votes to secure major party status in Minnesota. So in the next election, they're going to be a major party. Wow, that's actually really kind of cool. But anyways, now, the midterms. The midterms are, well, a bit mixed for everybody. Some progressives see this as a lose, some of them see it as a win, some conservatives see it as a win, some conservatives see it as a lose, Democrats see it as a win, some see it as a lose, and so on and so forth. First, me personally, well, actually, wait, hold on, I think I'll save that for last. Well, first, I'm gonna go over first, here's the big thing. My predictions. Now, I have been making these predictions since I was 8. And literally none of the predictions have failed me yet. Well, for the most part. Let me explain. My predictions for the entirety of my life were as follows. 2008, I predicted Obama was going to win. 2012, I predicted Obama was going to win. 2016, I pretty much predicted, if Hillary's the nominee, then Trump wins. And, well, that happened. And in the midterms, I predicted just the very simple thing of, I have a feeling that they're going to win the House, but they're not going to win the Senate. And, well, that's what happened. Pretty much everybody predicted that. Now, the big thing is, when it gets to specifics, certain things change. For example, for specific races, I predicted that pretty much all the races were going to stay the same except for 2, North Dakota and Arizona. I predicted that Arizona was going to flip to the Democrat. It was going to be Kyrsten Sinema who was going to win. And North Dakota, all the polls showed Heitkamp was going to lose, so I predicted that her race was going to end up with her losing. That part was right, but Arizona, it seems that they're kind of in limbo. Now, what I didn't expect was for the Democrats to literally lose 3 seats. Mike Braun beating Joe Donnelly. Josh Hawley beating Claire McCaskill. And Kevin Kramer beating Heidi Heitkamp. I didn't predict that was going to happen. That was, the Heitkamp one, yeah, but the other 2, not so much. Now, granted, they also managed to get a gain in Nevada, with Jackie Rosen beating Dean Heller. And, well, it technically brings their net loss to 2. And for the most part, a majority of the Democrats up for re-election just won. They just won re-election. And, well, the big thing was, are these blue dogs gonna lose or are they gonna win? It seems that Manchin and Tester and Feinstein pulled it off just fine. But most of the blue dogs are gone in the Senate. So votes aren't really gonna change much. And I guess that means Schumer could probably use to leave. If this is what happened. Literally 3 seats. 3 seats lost. Really? For some reason, it gets that bad? Ay, Dios mío. Now, the bigger thing is, there are actually some undecided races. As of November 9th at 1:49 p.m., these were some of the undecided races. Arizona Senate, Florida Senate, Florida Governor, Georgia Governor, Mississippi Senate, California's 10th District, 39th District, 45th, 48th, 49th, Georgia's 7th District, Maine's 2nd District, North Carolina's 9th District, New Jersey's 3rd District, Utah's 4th District, New Mexico's 2nd District. Those are all the undecided races. And of course, none of those races are ones I'm endorsing candidates in, except for 2. But technically, the Florida gubernatorial race is interesting because the Florida gubernatorial race, Gillum had already conceded, but Stacey Abrams did not, which we'll get to that in a second. But technically, does that mean Gillum automatically loses because he's like, yeah, I lost? Now, granted, Kemp also was like, yes, I win. But technically, yeah, but he didn't. But that's the thing. He didn't technically win because the other person didn't concede quite yet, and the votes are still being counted. And I updated my website as such. If you go to my website now, endorsements are rather scarce now. What's up, guys? It's scarce here. Pretty much all that's there now is the foreign races that are not going to have anything. The 2 local races that are up for re-election next year. And the people who had won their races. And the 2020 presidential race. And spaces for my races that are going to happen in 2020. Democrats also got a lot of gubernatorial seats, which is, of course, interesting. Like the biggest profile one that seems to have happened was Jared Polis. Became Colorado's governor, I believe. He's the gay, libertarian-leaning Democrat. That's his big thing. I didn't really know much about his race. And when I found out, I think I would have done a Keith Ellison and would just stayed out of the race because it's like, Polis doesn't seem too bad. Why did he leave? But oh well. Now, for me personally, for me, it was a lukewarm win. Pretty much a lot of the high-profile races, for the most part, it's kind of just meh. Some races I win, some races I didn't. When I say some, I mean pretty much all of them. But then again, pretty much all of them I knew were gonna lose. You know, the third party guys. Like, was I really expecting Darcy Richardson to win the Florida gubernatorial race? No, not really. What I was hoping for was the likes of Amar Kapanajar, or Sanjay Patel, or Scott Wallace, or Ben Jealous, or Christine Hallequist, or Paul Theobald, or James Thompson, or Sarah Smith, or Kara Eastman, or Jessica McClure, or Tim Canova, or Randy Bryce, or Philip Price, or David Wilson Brown, or Ryan Watts, or Dee Dee Adams, or Rodolfo Cortez Berrien, or personally, the two that really stung for me was Kenneth Mejia, who, well, lost his, he was Green Party, so technically I shouldn't have expected him to win, but, I would have preferred for him to win. But one that kind of stung more, it wasn't even Beto O'Rourke. I would have liked Beto O'Rourke to win, or Kevin De Leon. The one that stung for me most was Richard Ojeda. Richard Ojeda, he was so close. He was so close. And yet he didn't win. It was so freaking close. But it does open up the door for him to do one thing. Hint, hint. There's a Senate race in West Virginia coming up in 2020. You know what that means. I mean, Richard Ojeda and Paula Jean Swearengin are already put on the Wikipedia as potential candidates. I like Richard Ojeda, personally, so I would definitely want him to run for Senate in West Virginia. But at least the likes of Gary Johnson, Dimitri G. Theodropoulos, Paula Overby, Sarah Wellington, among others, get to join the likes of Levy Sanders, or Cynthia Nixon, or Alan Grayson, or John Wolfe Jr. These are guys, go to my website, endorsements that lost, and you'll see all the endorsements that lost, like the title says. And they're all great candidates, and I liked all of them. Some I wanted to win more than others, but some of them are even nostalgic to me, like Mark Whitmire and Kenneth Mejia were some the first endorsements that I put on my website back in the early days. And some of them were close to home. I endorsed 6 candidates from North Carolina. Some of them were running in really high profile races. Beto O'Rourke, being the biggest example. We mentioned him in American government 5 times because Beto O'Rourke was facing the uphill battle. He literally said in his concession speech that he was so fucking proud of everybody who was there. Now, again, when I get to specifics, there are some things that I'm not exactly. For example, I predicted that Gary Johnson was going to get second place. He didn't. Then again, I also predicted that John Wolfe Jr., even if he didn't win, he was going to get at least second, but he didn't. So there are specifics that don't exactly fit 100% with what, I thought. But, again, there are some wins for me as the progressive that I am. The wins for me in particular were Bernie Sanders winning re-election. It was expected, but it was good. Elizabeth Warren winning re-election, again expected, but I can live with it. Raul Grijalvo winning re-election. Ro Khanna winning re-election. Pramila Jayapal winning re-election. Tulsi Gabbard winning re-election. Peter Welch winning re-election. Barbara Lee winning re-election. And David E. Zuckerman winning re-election. Those are ones that I expected. But then there was also the ones that I expected that are newcomers. The big wins for me on election day were the political newcomers that I actually really wanted to win. And these guys, they've been in the news for the most part due to their notoriety. For example, I mean, the big thing about it is 2 of them are seen as the only insurgents that actually won their re-elections, and 3 were kind of seen as like, oh, they were handpicked by the party and they were replacing someone that was already progressive. Let me tell you who they are. In New York's District 14, we have Representative-elect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, of course, being the biggest progressive win for everybody, being the big one that beat Joe Crowley and got like big media attention. Like, ooh, this is the big progressive girl that she's gonna take back corporate America. She's gonna fight corporate America. And, you know, she's now the youngest woman to be elected to Congress at 29. So that gives me hope when I run at 26 that I'll have a chance. And especially considering her district was so blue, you know, I expected for all these newcomers that their districts were so blue that there was no way that they were going to lose. Now, despite the fact that Joe Crowley was like, hey, I'm not gonna not run for re-election. I'm just saying my name is on the ballot under the Working Families and Women's Equality Party, which I'm still mad at Crowley for. Literally, like, for those of you who don't know, let me explain how New York's ballots work. In New York, there's like many ballot qualified parties. We got 2 more. You know, Larry Sharp and Stephanie Miner, I believe her name was, from the Serve America movement. Congratulations to those 2, because their jobs were to get their party's ballot initiatives, like get their parties known in New York, which they did. So good for them. Maybe Larry will become the new Howie Hawkins and run for governor like a million times. And hey, I can make fun of him. I was endorsing Hawkins. But, like, here's how it works. I'll take the most basic parties that have been there since the dawn of time. Here are the major parties in New York that are always there. The Democrats and Republicans, obviously. Then the Conservative Party, the Working Families Party, the Women's Equality Party, the Green Party, and the Independence Party. Okay, those are the major parties that people always know in New York. The Conservative Party just endorses whoever the Republican is. The Working Families and Women's Equality Party, they endorse who the Democrat is. The Green runs its own candidate, and the Independence Party picks whichever one's going to win and just endorses them. For example, Republican congressional race, Republican incumbent, like if there's Democrat incumbent for governor, Republican incumbent for Congress, endorse both of them. Because they don't have a set ideology. They just have, you know, they're just populists. And of course the Green Party and whatever other third parties out there, they run their own candidates. So, here's what usually happens. The Working Families Party will endorse the progressive challenger to the incumbent neoliberal. Then when they lose, they decide to give up their ballot space and then give it to the Democrat. Then the neoliberal Democrat accepts it. For Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she wasn't endorsed by the Working Families Party. She was endorsed by no one. The Working Families Party and the Women's Equality Party endorsed Crowley from the get-go. So when she won, they basically said to Crowley, hey, can we take your name off of the ballot so that we can give our ballot lines to Ocasio-Cortez? And he said, no. Now, how do you get off the ballot? Because in New York, you can't just say, oh, I'm not running anymore. For some reason, that's just not a thing that happens. you have to run in another race in order to do so, or get arrested or die. Which, personally, Crowley, I would have been fine if he did either of those. But anyways, so she had to just move on without their endorsements. And people like Joe Lieberman were like, no, you gotta vote for Joe Crowley under the Working Families line. And it's like, Joe, like, this is the biggest thing I hate about the Working Families Party. For some reason, they're so fucking happy to remove Cynthia Nixon from her ballot line. But when Crowley wants to remove himself, when Crowley doesn't want to remove himself from the ballot line, they're just like, oh, okay. It's like, no. The next progressive that does this, they shouldn't do this. The progressive should never. If I was in New York and I was the progressive challenger and I got the Working Families Party endorsement and then I lost the Democratic primary, I would not remove my name from the ballot. I would actively campaign for that seat still, because I'm like, what are you talking about? I got the Working Families Party line. And they're going to be like, what? No, you can't do that. You're going to lose your ballot line. I'd be like, I don't care. I'm the Working Families Party candidate. And, yeah, that's pretty much how it worked in New York. And, of course, Cortez was big, and she wins. Heavy blue district. She was going to win anyways. People are making fun of her because she can't afford rent in D.C. BS. Who cares? She's running to be congresswoman, not running to be a millionaire. Next candidate. In Michigan District 13, we have Rashida Tlaib, which, of course, sadly, there was no challenge, quote-unquote, because all she had on the ballot was a working class party, which is a socialist party, or a Green as the challenger, to which, of course, those don't really count as challenges. So she was kind of just seen as a big, obvious win. She's going to be the first Muslim woman and the second DSA member to be in Congress. And the first one is Ocasio-Cortez. And, well, yeah, she's just a really good candidate. I endorsed her for a reason. She's going to make Michigan and U.S. Congress proud. I can imagine it now. The next one is Ilhan Omar, running for Minnesota District 5. Well, I mean, she ran for Minnesota District 5 and she won. And, of course, you may remember, that was Keith Ellison's district before he decided to run for Attorney General. Ay, Dios mío. I was a bit mad at Keith Ellison for not running in his seat again, but I was happy that we were getting a really progressive replacement for him in Ilhan Omar, because I believe his two challengers, the two challengers for Ilhan Omar were really corporatist, I believe. Basically, here's what happens, for those of you who don't know, and if you don't know that this is true, just look at what happened to Alan Grayson. Alan Grayson, incumbent congressman for a long time, from 2008 to 2016. He was a congressman for Florida. People loved him. He was like the aggressive progressive that everybody knew and loved. The guy who was openly willing to call Republicans foot-dragging, knuckle-dragging Neanderthals. The one who was able to call a lobbyist a K-Street whore. The one who went on a tangent speech about how dog poop, zombies, and meteors were popular than Congress. The guy who sat in the middle of the gun control sit-in. That guy. He decided that in 2016 he was going to run for Senator of Florida. To which I say, good idea. But, due to the fact that he was running I think it was the law at the time that Florida, I remember, because this happened with Marco Rubio. You can't run for Senate and another office at the same time. Like, you can't run for 2 offices, which, good. That's a 100% good thing. Then, Alan Grayson, of course, he didn't run for his congressional seat. He had his wife run instead against Darren Soto, corporate Democrat. As much as he's just like, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. Every single Democrat compared to Alan Grayson's is pretty corporate. But anyways, Alan Grayson runs for Senate seat against another corporate Democrat, and Rocky de la Fuente. He loses his seat because the Democrats smear him with a fake tactic, like with a fake thing that, and here's the kicker, they do this because this seat was open because Marco Rubio said that he wasn't going to run for re-election, ergo state law. So they're like, we can win this race and get rid of this pain in our thorn Alan Grayson at the same time. In fact, Alan Grayson, this was so popular with the Democratic establishment, Harry Reid was one of the big people who was promoting this conspiracy theory about him, and Alan Grayson literally walks up to Harry Reid and says, "Do you know who I am?" Harry Reid goes, yeah, I think you do. And Alan Grayson goes, "Say my name. I want you to say my name." See, this is the kind of congressman I want to be. But, Alan Grayson, he runs, he loses, and then they're like, yes, we get to win the Senate race, and we got his wife to not win. That's the House seat. So now we have a corporate Democrat going in the House. We got a corporate Democrat going in the Florida Senate. What could possibly go wrong? Then Marco Rubio says, "Hey, I'm gonna run for the seat again because I dropped out of the presidential race," and they lose. So yeah, that's how it works. They did it with Dennis Kucinich. They gerrymandered both of his districts in the same place. There's no way that they did it on accident. They do this to progressives if they have the ability to remove you and remove another progressive at the same time. They'll do it. So I'm glad that they didn't do that with Ellison, because he won his attorney general seat. And they didn't happen to Ilhan Omar. And she's going to be really good in Congress. And I'm really hopeful. The next one is Illinois District 4. We have Jesus Choi Garcia. Now, me and Jesus Choi Garcia have an interesting history. Back in the early days, I saw his website and how he was endorsed by Bernie Sanders and Luis Gutierrez, who was the incumbent congressman at the time. Luis Gutierrez also doing some stupid thing where he's like, "Oh, I think that Jesus Choi Garcia should run for mayor of Chicago instead of the congressional seat. He should run as mayor in 2019. And then Jesus Choi Garcia says, "Are you guys stupid? I'm running for Congress. Stupid. He was endorsed by Bernie, of course, and won his seat because it was a solidly blue district. Gutierrez was literally like, "I don't want to be congressman anymore. I think Jesus Choi Garcia should be in Congress instead." And Bernie's like, "Oh, I agree with that as well. We need more progressives in Congress." And then Jesus Choi Garcia says, "Okay, I'll run." And he ran and won. But the reason I waited like a million years to endorse him, because I was literally like, Choi, this would go a whole lot faster if you told me your platform. I like you're endorsed by Bernie, but, Bernie endorses some people and then not endorses other people. I kind of need to know what I'm getting into. And he didn't tell me anything. Until one day, he just decided to update his website with policy positions. And as soon as I read them, I'm like, yep, I'm on board. Let's go. Medicare for all, affordable housing, investing in green economy. Let's go, man. Andale. And of course, Mexican Americans, so I win again. But yeah, Jesus Garcia, I think he's going to be great. I mean, he's so popular in Chicago anyways. People have like Choi mustaches everywhere. Speaking of mustaches, Iron Stash. Do 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 do. I'm gonna miss Iron Stash. But hey, he might run again. I think he is gonna run again. And that'd be great. I'm pretty much telling all the people who I endorse this year to run again. Even for higher office, I don't care if you run for higher office. I don't care. Some of your states are gonna have Senate races open available, and for those, I want to see Tim Canova run for senator of Florida, or even governor of Florida. Maybe then I can actually endorse someone I like again. And in Massachusetts District 7, we have Representative-elect Ayanna Pressley. Now, Ayanna Pressley, not to put words in her mouth, but I'm just gonna say this, or like have any bad hope about her. If any of these people I expect to turn into a corporate Democrat, I really expect it to be Ayanna. Now, Ayanna, she made headlines, due to the fact that she's a black woman. In fact, all these people that I mentioned, except for Choi, made headlines because of the fact that they're going to be women in Congress. I guess not undermining Choi's, goodness, but, I really like Choi as well, but Choi, as you see, he's like the one sausage in a clam fest. Man, wouldn't this be funny if this was the episode Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or any of these people saw? I literally just said like Choi's a sausage in a clam fest. But I mean, hey Alexandria, hit me up if you no. I mean, all the people on here are cute, even Choi. I mean, I don't necessarily swing that way, but whatever floats your boat, my friend. But again, back to Ayanna Pressley. Ayanna is, well, the big, sore thumb because of the fact that she endorsed Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders. Well, the rest of these people either endorsed Bernie Sanders beforehand or were either too politically irrelevant to have an endorsement known. Like, for example, I think, I know Choi endorsed Sanders, and Tlaib endorsed Sanders, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was a Sanders staffer. So, I think Ilhan Omar also endorsed Sanders. Pretty much all of them endorsed Sanders except for Ayanna Pressley. Oh, and Barbara Lee and Elizabeth Warren, but that's beside the point. Now that's kind of a red flag. Why would you endorse the avidly corporate Democrat over the real progressive? And Ayanna made it pretty clear in a special interview she did. It was because Hillary was a woman. Bernie was not a woman. Ergo, Hillary was the progressive, and Bernie Sanders was the sexist male that was ruining her chances of becoming president. Now, that doesn't necessarily string a good light for me, because of the fact that, well, I don't believe that's the case, and any sane person should not believe that's the case either. But I endorsed her anyways because of multiple reasons. One, she's a Justice Democrat, so I kind of trust her. I don't think that Kyle Kulinski or Chen Yuger would have even. I don't even think she was a. I think they were still a member. I think they were still affiliated with Justice Democrats when she started running as a Justice Democrat. But even then, I think they would have called her out, and they did call her out. Kyle did, I think. Jimmy Dore did. I know absolutely he did. And Kyle Kulinski, I think he mentioned her alongside with Gillum, basically saying, keep an eye out on these two. they might look good on the outside, but on the inside, I don't know. There might be something a little deep in there. And Ayanna Pressley, she actually beat a Democrat that was seen as very progressive. Mike Caponano, I believe is his name. And by the time by the time the primary was over, I didn't know who she was. I just knew that she beat him. I was like, oh, I mean, too late now to make any specific choices now. I mean, yeah, I think that she'll do well in Congress, especially considering, for identity politics for a second, she is technically going to be the first African American to be elected to Congress to represent Massachusetts, to which you might say, really? Massachusetts? I mean, I get maybe Texas, but Massachusetts, really? And I'm like, everybody's like, yeah, I was shocked too. But she is rather progressive for the most part. But I will say, if any of these people kind of flip and become corporate Democrats, these guys will be off my list, and I will hold their feet to the freaking fire. Believe you me. And I guarantee you, if I had to make a prediction right now, I would say my prediction would be that Ayanna Pressley is the one person here that kind of brings disappointment. But, again, not to put words in Ayanna Pressley's mouth, or to make her seem less, noteworthy than the others, because she is noteworthy. But I'm just saying, out of all of the ones there, she's the one that I might express disappointment in. And I think another thing will be pretty clear about disappointment is 2020. Not counting voter record, but 2020 will be, at least rhetoric-wise, a very bad thing for her. If Bernie runs in 2020, and when I say if, I mean when. When he runs in 2020, I expect literally every single person on this list, every single person in Congress that claims to be progressive, to endorse him. Troy will be endorsing him. I know Ocasio-Cortez will endorse him. Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Raul Grijalva, Pramila Jayapal, Tulsi Gabbard, Peter Welch. I expect all of them, except for maybe like Lee and Warren, to do like a whole, I don't know, maybe. If Ayanna doesn't do that, and instead endorses someone else, then I think it's time for us to just be like, you know what, Ayanna, you had your time, go fuck off. Because if she can't do it then she will never do it. Back then, you can at least give Gillum and Pressley an excuse, like, maybe they won't win. But by that time, everybody knows Bernie's gonna win, no matter what. If they try to shove him aside like they tried to do to Donald Trump, he's just gonna overwhelm them, and he's gonna sit like Booker, Gillibrand, all those people are gonna go down one by one. And Bernie's gonna reign supreme. He's gonna win. If I'm gonna make that prediction. I think that if Bernie runs, he's gonna win. And if he doesn't win, it's gonna be proven to be another corporate sham. But Ayanna, you're gonna have to endorse him that time. Otherwise, I'm not endorsing you ever again. I don't care about your progressive platform. At that point, there's no excuse. But anyways, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more political content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Quora. What do you think about these endorsements? Do you think they're going to keep their promises, or do you think they're going to be corporate establishment Democrats? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below.